So, it is no secret that every guru you watch online is making millions of dollars, and they might be teaching you how to dropship or how to start an SMA, but the truth is that that is not the business model they're using themselves. They're selling information, and the reason they do this is because by far the most profitable and the easiest business model to start in 2025. My business partner and I, over the last 2 years, collected well over $1 million using this exact same model in the agency space, and today, I want to break down and share you all the secrets of how to do this because you don't need any experience or to have made millions in a business to start. You can start today with absolutely zero experience and over the next 6 to 12 months completely transform your life to the point where whether you choose to flex on the brokies or not is going to be your choice. So without further ado, I'm going to walk you through the 5 phases of your foundations, your niche selection, your documentation and your production, your minimum viable product, and then finally your price scaling. And you're going to have everything that you need in a step-by-step plan to actually execute on everything that I share in this video. So the first part of your foundations is going to be your equipment. Going to keep this super simple. As long as you have a laptop, a cell phone, and internet connection, you are good to go. Your background doesn't matter, your camera recording quality doesn't matter, and every software that you'd otherwise use can be switched out for something for free. The second part of our foundations is going to be what I like to call social over-branded assets. So to understand what this even means, you need to first get that we are in a trust recession. 4 years ago, someone would watch a YouTube video of yours, navigate to your landing page, and pay you. But nowadays, people have been pitched by so many people time and time and time again that simply does not work. Someone has to go through the entire process of getting to know you, watching your videos, learning about who you are and what your business does, all without you speaking with them before they ever even show the fact that they have the tiniest bit of interest in what you do and your product. And for that reason, we need to optimize our entire coaching business so that we allow people to learn about us and who we are without forcing them into a high friction sales environment. The reason I say this is because my coaching business made this exact same mistake. We built up a crazy website and we built up a crazy offer, but all we seemed to get in return was nightmare customers, even though we had a product that was only $100 and we had a completely guaranteed refund. And that honestly just dumbfounded us. We were stuck for so long because of it. And the reason was because we weren't creating enough content to actually have people go through and trust who we are and our company's methodology before they actually decided to pay us. So everyone became a nightmare-ish customer. Now, this all continued until we heard this analogy here, and it's the fact that as a personal brand builder or creator, you are pretty much establishing digital real estate. Now, this is not going to be your website or any of those assets because in order to have those compound, you have to spend years and years and years backlinking and doing all the crap in the back end of those websites. With social media posts like Instagram and YouTube, it is completely algorithm based. And if you achieve and build a great video, you are going to be rewarded time and time again. And you're almost a digital real estate agent in the sense that you're building up your portfolio of storefronts that people are going to visit. And if you do a good job of them, as I mentioned, your actual algorithms on YouTube and your entire channel are going to gain traction and more people are going to see them without you actually having to do work. So you might have spent 3 hours making a video, but if it is really good and you actually express your expertise in it, thousands and thousands of people are going to watch it over the course of the next months and years. Now, you're probably thinking, well, how do I actually make these high quality videos that answer people's questions? And do I even have the authority to go through and say that to people? I'm going to cover that in a second, but first we need to understand the first principle basis of thinking, because I almost just broke down every single norm that exists in the coaching and online business space by saying, yeah, you don't need a landing page or you don't need a crazy funnel to start. The reason we're doing this is because we're focusing on the most basic way of achieving an outcome. Instead of spending a whole bunch of time creating a portfolio of a bunch of things we need to manage, if we focus on the maybe 1, 2, or 3 things that we need to do, we're going to improve massively at them. And instead of developing our knowledge, we're going to be developing our skills in certain topics. So we're going deep instead of broad. And I'll give you an example of this to actually really just hammer home who would win. There's a guy who has 2 different products and he's got 3 funnels that he's split testing with a few different offers and 3 different acquisition sources where he's actually bringing in traffic, or the guy with 1 offer, 1 product, and 1 acquisition channel, which are those YouTube videos he's making. Obviously, guy number 2 is going to have more time to invest into actually improving his skill in each of those. And it really comes from the foundational understanding that there are a million ways to make $1 million, but you need to just pick one, focus on it, and master it to the point where you are better at absolutely everyone else. And the best way to do that is just simply by focusing on that one thing. So when it comes to actually finding a niche that we're going to actually give to people and what we're going to talk about with all of our videos, it is two simple ways. First off, we can identify something that we already have a skill in, or number two is that we can go through the process of creating it and demonstrating it publicly. This is why I say you can start with absolutely zero experience, because if you don't have a skill right now, you can pick an area where you'd like to develop, and instead of actually trying to fake expertise in that area, through documenting your journey, you can at some point create a gap between where the person that's listening to you is and where you are now. And the size of that gap proportionate is going to be the amount you can charge. My coaching business made our first $10,000 in a month by actually showing people how to get their first free trial client, just to show you that it really doesn't need to be that big of a result you get someone in order to justify actually charging a price. So how do you actually do this? I want you to grab a piece of paper and I want you to write down every single skill-based pursuit you've had in life. The reason why we look at what we've done in the past is because speaking to our younger self and our experiences is the number one way to actually have success. And almost 99% of the massive coaching businesses you see were built on solving skills that the member or the core leader of it had faced as they had actually started in whatever journey they're on. And if you've decided to actually learn a skill instead of just selecting one you already have, do not worry, because this is going to be the exact same. It's just going to be gradual instead of all at once. Now, from that point on, I want you to look at each of those skill-based pursuits, and I want you to write down 2 to 3 core skills that you actually derive from doing that thing. Now, I'll give you an example. Let's say you played American football at an extremely high level. Now, the obvious thing would be that you can teach people how to be good at that position, but there's also a side factor. Maybe you're in really good shape, and you find out that there's a market for people wanting to get in athletic shape and not having to want to go to the gym and wait 3 minutes between sets. So I want you to derive not only the very base level, but also the kind of underlying esoteric skill that you get as a result of the leading skill or pursuit that you got in that life experience. Then, once you've done that for all the skill-based life pursuits that you have, I want you to pick the 3 to 5 core ones that stand out, and I want you to optimize it for the 2 following criteria. The first is the fact that you're good at it, and the second is the fact that you enjoy doing it. And if you can find that top 3-ish that you really enjoy doing and you're also really good at, you can go to the final phase, which is testing their viability. This is going to be super simple. I want you to go on YouTube and I want you to search for people that are already doing this. Look at their pages, see if they have customers, see if they're living a life that you'd be willing to actually look for. And I want you to see if people are searching and asking questions about problems that you have the ability to solve. And by doing this, you're going to get a really good gauge of what it's actually going to look like to work in your market, and you're going to have all the information you need to select the one skill that you are going to teach people and monetize your audience with. So now that we know what we're actually going to do, the big question is how we're actually going to implement on this. And the first thing that I want to cover is the 2 social media profiles that you need to set up. First thing is going to be a YouTube channel. If you don't already have a YouTube channel that's in the niche that you're talking about, I'd like you to create a new channel. The second one is going to be an Instagram account. If you have a personal account, you can create that, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. All it has to be is a profile that has posts up of you, and if you have to create a new one, just throw up some posts. It doesn't matter if they get absolutely 0 likes or you have 0 followers to start. So once we have done this, we are now going to start fueling the funnel that we have built, which is creating YouTube content and then directing people from this YouTube content to our Instagram, where we can create conversations with them to actually convert them as a customer. We do not need any formal offers or landing pages to do this, as I will cover in the minimum viable product section, but the first step is to actually create the content. And in order to do this, there are 2 core styles we can follow. First, we have the authority-based content, which is only going to be applicable if you're picking a skill that you already have expertise in. And the second is going to be documentation style content. You are going to be sharing the journey that you go through of having absolutely 0, so starting down here, and slowly developing up to the person that you turn into by developing that skill. And then in direct proportion to the size of the problem and the actual growth that you have is going to be what you can charge people. Because remember, it is not about how much of an expert you are. There are billionaires in this world, but a lot of people who sell the coaching programs are not the utmost experts in their field. It is about how desirable the actual transformation that you've undergone is. So you don't have to be the most fit person in the world to sell a product on how to get in shape. But if you've achieved a fitness level that a lot of other people want to achieve, you can now show people how to actually get that. and it's to the direct extent that you can provide the speed and consistency to actually get that result, which is the amount of money you're going to make, not how much of a crazy expert you actually are. So if you already have expertise and we're going to be creating authority style content, the simple process that we're going to follow is answering questions that the previous self we had actually experienced. So I want you to write down, grab a piece of paper just like you did last time, and write down every single problem that you experienced in actually achieving where you are now in that given skill. So if you achieved and built a business, what problems did you face with your sales, with your acquisition, every single part of that process. And then once you've done that, I want you to search those keywords into YouTube, see what kind of videos people are making, and replicate the packaging of those videos with your own twist on it. So if you see someone had a very successful video and you believe you can talk about it, share it in your own words and your experience, and that is going to be how you actually kick off and create your content. Now, if you're documenting it, it's going to be a little bit more complex. However, at the same time, it's also going to have a massive yield. The two biggest personal brands that have kind of grown to stardom outside of the one outlier in the authority niche, which is Alex Hormozi, Iman Gadzhi, and Hamza, both started from absolutely nothing, documenting their journeys. That's why their personal brands are so powerful, because you can see them turn from someone who didn't really have any desirable outcomes in their lives to where they are now. And because of this, they've both monetized their audience to an extreme extent. So in order to actually document a journey yourself, the biggest thing that you need to find is a core goal of the reason you are posting content. This is something that people can rally behind towards you, and it's also going to be something that when you achieve can be a transformation that you show people how to get. So if you're teaching something in the business niche or want to learn something in the business niche, a great example of this could be getting to 10K a month. It's highly desirable for a lot of people, and if you can actually document the process of you going from 0 to 10K a month, you're going to have a great product or mentorship that you can turn around and you can sell to people. From that point forward, I want you to treat your phone camera like a friend that you are just sharing your journey and talking about too. You're gonna have two styles of content. You're going to have first, which is going to be showing what you are actually doing towards getting to your goal. And then the second one is going to be the lessons that you've learned along the way. You're going to be posting videos following those two core formats in order to actually get people interested in what you're doing and actually documenting the process of you achieving that core goal. Your superpower towards achieving this successfully is authenticity. And to the direct extent that you can show and be completely transparent and others can relate to you about the journey that you were going on is how much they're going to reciprocate in the love that is shown to you, and then eventually the monetary benefit and gain that you have as a result of documenting this whole process. Now, my business partner and I actually created a docu-series that you can model in order to learn what the kind of structure and format looks like. In addition to that, there's also a lot of people that follow this format. The core thing here is that it's about authenticity and relatability over production quality. And if you can just show the high highs and the low lows, you are going to be absolutely set in actually showing your journey and everything that you do. Now, that is the oversimplified way of the actual video formats they're going to be creating. But the reason why 99% of channels fail is because they lack one thing, and that is going to be perspective. They're going to post a video that they believe is good, they put a lot of effort into, and maybe that even their friends think is good, and it might not perform. And then from that point on, they're going to think that the algorithm doesn't like them, something's wrong, and they're just going to quit way too soon. And the reason I say that is because this is what I've done so many times with my channels that I've tried to start. And the core thing that you need to realize and actually implement is understanding that algorithms are completely unbiased. If you make a good video, it is going to gain traction and people are going to watch it. If you make a bad video, no one is going to watch it and is going to do poorly. Now, once you understand that, it's a lot easier to actually look at the videos objectively and understand that if it didn't get views, it needs to be reworked in some way, shape, or form for the next one that you actually create. And if you can understand this and abide by it to create 100 videos, you are going to have a number and an actual goal that you're working towards that is going to almost guarantee that you've developed enough skill when it comes to creating videos and actually have a sizable audience by that point. For context, my business partner had released around his 200th video. He had around 8,000 subscribers, and that actually allowed us to hit our first six-figure month. So you don't need a massive audience to do this, but it needs to be targeted, and you actually have to focus on creating content that once again is valuable and solves your customers' problems. So now we're posting videos. This is the part you've been waiting for on how to actually monetize the audience that we've grown. And remember the first principles concept that I talked about? this is going to be the single point where it is the most valuable and the easiest to not abide by and slip up, because you're going to see so many people telling you that you need to make this much more complex than it actually has to be at the beginner phases of just starting out. And the reason I say this is because I've done this. I've made thousands of landing pages tweaks and new offers because I tried to actually jump the gun on understanding what my market was looking for before actually just speaking with them and proving it out over time and through the reps of actually having conversations with each of these people day in and day out. Instead of actually being a fake guru or a scam or any of those negative words used to describe someone who's actually creating and talking about things that they've not achieved themselves, we're going to take a completely different approach and have a very low friction environment where someone actually watches our video, and then in the description, we're going to direct them straight to our Instagram page. On our Instagram page, once again, it's going to be super simple. We're going to have a few posts up. The core advantage that we have is going to be our stories. On our stories, we're going to document our day-to-day lives and things that are top of mind that we're learning on our journey. Just for context, I really don't like the process of being a influencer on Instagram. I usually have it uninstalled on my phone. I check on the web browser majority of the time, and then once per day, I'll reinstall it on my phone, and I'll take a few pictures of whatever I'm doing on that day and share those lessons. So you don't need to be someone who has a super rigid schedule, but the key thing, once again, is authenticity. So once again, if you are that rigid person, that's what you share, and that's the kind of schedule that you have. But if not, you just want to make it a clear window into your personal life when it comes to business. So once again, to avoid the fake guru or the scammy kind of frame that you can get a lot of the time when you try and sell a product, we're going to go the complete opposite direction. Everyone that follows us as a result of watching our YouTube videos that otherwise would have never opted into a landing page or paid us their information in any way, shape, or form are going to actually interact with us just because we've made such a low friction offer to follow us on Instagram. And from that point on, we're going to follow them back first and foremost, and then we're going to connect with them and have a genuine conversation. There's going to be absolutely zero sales involved. I want you to connect with another individual as if you were trying to become their friend. And the reason why we do this is going to be explained in a little bit later. What this is going to do is it's going to build up a gallery of a bunch of people that we have connected with and conversations on our Instagram. And it's going to create a bubble of people who are in our ideal customer niche that are continuously interacting with us on a day-to-day basis. And then from that point on, what we can do is we can create a friends only story. This is the little green circle that you see around people's names sometimes. And what we're going to do is we're going to only add the people that we've had really good conversations with to this friend story. And approximately once per month, we're going to make a pretty strong offer. We're going to explain that we're doing a one-to-one intensive mentorship to actually achieve the core result that you've actually worked to achieve and that you documented. And then what you're going to do is you're going to say you're taking 1 to 3 people on, so not crazy sales, product, etc., and explain that you're looking for case studies for when you actually plan to release it as a product. This is going to be an alternative to having a crazy funnel. And the reason why it works is because it drops your sales resistance to absolute zero. It's not like you're confronting them one-to-one with a crazy offer and saying like, hey, like, why don't you buy this? Give me a yes or no right now on the spot. You are giving them an opportunity to see it, and you can check whether they see it or not in the little bubble that shows you who looked at your story. Then from that point on, you're going to actually have them either swipe if they're interested, and if they're not interested, they're just going to move on as if it were a normal story on their Instagram page. And what this does is if someone has watched enough of your stories, consumed enough of your content to actually know that you are legit and that you can achieve results for them, it is going to give you a massive advantage to actually achieving success. And if you're wondering why someone would even pay attention to an offer like that from someone who's not the utmost authority, it is because your secret weapon at this point in your coaching business is going to be the fact that you can have extremely intimate customer relationships that transparently, no one who runs a bigger coaching business has time to have the founder of the company or the personal brand directly spend that much time with any customer that gets onboarded. So what we've done by doing that is creating a massive flywheel. People are going to watch our YouTube videos and they're going to come to our Instagram. And on our Instagram, we're going to funnel all these people back into our YouTube videos. And what this does is it means that as we grow a bigger audience, let's say we have 100 Instagram followers that will click through and really just interact with us in any way, shape, or form. When we post a YouTube video, are guaranteed once we put up that story, going to swipe over and watch that video, which is going to boost the amount of people that see it on YouTube, then funneling more people back to Instagram. And as I mentioned, have our Instagram funnel back to the YouTube and create a flywheel that goes again and again and again and again. And as I mentioned, as opposed to running ads or a landing page like that, it is going to compound and go exponential. So instead of being linear growth just like this, it's going to be slow, 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 slow. Then it's going to go straight up and you're going to get a lot of progress all at one time once it all kind of clicks. Now, when people are actually interested in this mentorship, they swipe up. Well, what are you going to tell them? What are you going to do to actually get them on board? Well, it's going to be super simple because you've already connected with this person and just had a genuine conversation. You can either hop on a call with them or you can pick up where you left off and just explain what you're going to do in the DMs. When it comes to actually structuring the service that you're providing them, it is going to be in our best benefit to go completely unscalable in the way that we do it. We want to provide the most value possible for the cheapest price so that we can develop a case study result that can get us more and more clients, and then also potentially a referral client of friends that that person had, because like-minded people hang out with like-minded people. So if they're trying to get in shape and they need a fitness plan created for them, it means you going out of your way to look at everything involving their current nutrition to build them a fitness plan. If they're starting a business, it might mean writing their scripts and their offers for them. Once again, it is in your selfish benefit to get them the best result possible. Doing this and dedicating so much of your time, if you actually look at it on an hourly basis, is probably going to be close to, if not just above, minimum wage for the price that you are charging. But remember, as this gap between where you are as a person documenting your journey or creating authority content and where your viewer is the price that you can charge based on the transformation you achieve, you are going to slowly but surely be able to increase your price. And as you do that, it might be a little bit now, but you'll learn more about your service delivery and how to consistently deliver without spending loads of time, and your hourly rate is going to continue going higher and higher. And this is where you finally get to the echelons where you're beginning to achieve financial freedom without your entire process and with your final coaching business, monetizing your audience that you just started by posting online. And that has been how you actually start a coaching business in 2025. I hope the time you spent on this video was worth the value that you received in return. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram or drop a comment on the video below.